I received a question from Shane Houston. Hello, Shane, and thank you very much for your question, which is, what lowbrow movie grabs your attention and you have to sit down and watch when you see it on? As much as I enjoy artsy films, whenever I see Rounders on, I have to sit down and watch it. Maybe it's the tie-in to Cards. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone your lowbrow guilty pleasure. So thank you very much, Shane, for a very interesting question. And I suppose I could address it by stating up front that I totally understand the use of these terms, like lowbrow and highbrow, and I've used them before in discussion in certain contexts, and I completely get it, and I find that they have a great use and they are very understandable terms. And that being said, I think that for me, if I were to try to express my own perspective on watching films in terms of my own subjective cinema journey, I think that in particular over the last several years, I have not necessarily thought of it in terms of, say, lowbrow and highbrow per se. I've more or less thought of it, or I'd like to think that I view it as, does the film have something about it that makes me want to be engaged with it? I think for me that is the ultimate question. And if that is the case, then I feel compelled to be engaged with the film. I don't know if that makes any sense. And so this can be any type of film, and it can be something that is considered maybe art house, or it can be something that is considered maybe very lowbrow or low budget, or oftentimes maybe a B grade or Z grade, or some many types of terms have been used in the terminology of cinema discussions, past, present. And so I think ultimately, is the film something that I feel I want to be engaged with? And so in that way, just to give a few examples, this is, again, just something that, how I feel at the moment. And let's see, for example, on this channel, I have spoken about a film like, say, Nail Gun Massacre. It is a horror film, a very low budget horror film that is very funny and very over the top, and perhaps in many ways maybe unintentionally so, but that's part of the charm and earnestness of films like Nail Gun Massacre. There's also a film which is called The Room, and I really enjoy that film very much. I find it to be it always makes me happy, and I'm smiling and laughing whenever I see it. And it's a very famous film, I think, for reasons that if you know The Room, you know what I'm talking about. But that's a very funny film, and I think it makes me so happy when I see it. And so if I watch a film and it makes me happy, then I feel like I really want to treasure that and to treasure that moment. And of course, I can understand certain degrees of, say, criticism and certain viewpoints that some may have about films like that. That's okay. But in terms of my own cinematic journey, I find those films to be a lot of fun. And also, maybe to give another example, it came up recently in conversation, the films of Ed Wood. And I understand some of the perspectives on the films of Ed Wood, but I just remember hearing about films like, say, Plan 9 from Outer Space, and being a kid and I remember being able at last to have been able to see Plan 9 from Outer Space in its entirety, and it was very funny, and it lived up to the hype. And it was funny, and it was silly, and it was very campy, and maybe unintentionally so, and it was trying to be so earnest and serious in a lot of ways, and it was just presenting this this really great time. And now that I think about it, and now whenever I watch that film Plan 9 from Outer Space, I feel very happy, and it's making me just be in love with this particular moment, which is having a good time. And I think I'm always up for having a good time when it comes to watching films and the like. And if a film can provide that feeling for me, then I want, as I say, I want to treasure it very much. And so I guess those for me might be some current, say, examples that I might have right now. There are many, many others, but again, just to return to the initial point, is that ultimately it's, do I feel like I can engage with the film? And that phrase, I think, engage, can have a whole breadth of meaning depending on, let's say, your feeling or your perspective at a given moment. So I think that's how I would answer the question. I'm sorry if maybe my answer is not so satisfactory, Shane, but it's a great question. And again, I completely get the idea of lowbrow, highbrow, artsy, art house, etc. I think those, as I say, are very valuable ways to have discussions like this. So thank you very much, Shane. And let me now turn the question to our dear friends, which is, what lowbrow movie grabs your attention and you have to sit down and watch it when you see it on? So this is Shane's question, and now I present it to you, my dear friend. So how would you answer that? Please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what it is you have to say. And okay, my dear friends, and thank you very much, Shane, and cheers.